The time is ticking. Monday night is approaching. Jets versus Bills. Let's preview the game right now. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia right here on YouTube. Some of you know me as Adam, some of you know me as Watts2K99, but we are here to preview the Jets versus Bills matchup on Monday night, the season opener. So the way that we do this, we're going to preview the Jets offense against the Bills defense. Then we're going to reverse it, do Bills offense against Jets defense, a few other random game notes, some interesting statistics, maybe some special team stuff. And then I've got a few announcements that's going to be for the Virginia Jets fans. I always save those for the very end of the video. So let's get into these matchups right now. So with the Jets offense, you know they've gone 8 straight games against the Bills without scoring 20 points or more. Wow. That stat has to change pretty quickly. Well, enter Aaron Rodgers. I don't quite think the Jets had a quarterback the caliber of Aaron Rodgers in any of those games. Now, I am a little bit interested about how this Bills defense is going to look. Their defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, who had been there since 2017, decided not to return for this season, so the Bills have a new coordinator in place. That's going to make quite a difference. Now, a couple of players I'm looking at on Buffalo, number 50, Gregrousseau, one of their edge rushers. Last year, he had 4 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks against the Jets, 8 sacks for the season, and a quarter of them came against the Jets. Of course, in that second game, he was going up against the Jets' right tackle, the immortal Mike Remmers. He is not on the team, I can assure you. This time, it's mekhibecton's job. Now, Becton has been a little bit sick. Friday, he missed practice with an unknown illness, so he's going to have to be ready for Gregrousseau. The good thing, though, with Rousseau that I think plays into Becton's hand is Rousseau is more of a power rusher. When Becton played his rookie season, the type of pass rusher he had the most issue with were those fast, explosive guys. But if it was power on power, Becton generally did the job very well. So the fact that Rousseau is more power-based, this could work in Becton's favor. Now, of course, the Bills have a huge loss. No vonmiller, their top pass rusher. He is working his way back from a torn ACL. He will be out at least the first 4 games of the season. And just to show you what a difference vonmiller makes with this Buffalo pass rush, check these numbers out. Last year, weeks 1 through 11, when they had Miller, the Bills had a 7.4% sack rate. That's 13th in the league. And a 31.6% quarterback pressure rate. That's 4th in the league. So 31% of the time on a drop back, they pressured the quarterback. Now, weeks 12 through 18 without Miller, the sack rate went down to 5.2%. That's 24th in the league. So they went 13 to 24. And that pressure rate, which was 4th in the league, went down to 26th without Von Miller. Just a 24.3% pressure rate. So Miller is a big deal, and his absence will be very much felt on this Buffalo defense. But they did bring in, I feel, a very good replacement in leonardfloyd. He'll be wearing number 56. He's got 9 sacks each of the last 3 seasons, playing most recently with the Rams and the Bears. So I think Floyd will be a pretty good substitute for Von Miller. Now, as far as what the Jets need to do on offense, I'm really watching what their run game is going to do. I think one of the biggest things the Jets can do is to get those running backs to the second level, past the defensive line and against the linebackers. The reason is, I know mattmilano is a great weak side linebacker. He has wrecked the Jets in the past. But the Bills lost Tremaine Edmonds, who is their middle linebacker, really their defensive quarterback. He left in free agency and went to Chicago. Okay, now on Wednesday, they just named their starter at middle linebacker, Terrell Bernard, number 43. He is a second-year player out of Baylor. He was hurt the whole preseason. He could run. He's got a nice motor on him, but is he cerebral enough to call the defense? Is he going to take the good angles at making tackles? So if the Jets get like a one-on-one, if breecehall or Dalvin Cook are running, and the only defender there is number 43, watch it. Watch that run. It's going to make a big, big difference. And again, Milano, number 58, we know what he did last year. He took Mike White out with broken ribs. And the game that the Jets did beat the Bills, Milano was not playing that game. So Milano seems to be the one Bill. The Bills have a lot of good defensive players, but he has been the one who has shown an ability to wreck the Jets. Now, if we look at the receiver matchup, Garrett Wilson is a nightmare facing these Bills, most cornerbacks anyway, but Tre'Davious White is going to be an interesting matchup. So number 27, White, has been a good cornerback for a long time, but he did have a torn ACL that he's still kind of working his way back from. And last year, when they did play against each other, Wilson caught 4 passes on 5 targets for 51 yards. That was with Joe Flacco and Mike White playing quarterback, by the way. And what's so great about Wilson, he's such a good route runner. He has a great ability to get in and out of breaks, and that can put a lot of pressure on a cornerback who may not be quite as quick and twitchy. On that surgically repaired knee, that could pose problems for Tre'Davious White. So you got to see that as a favorable matchup for the Jets. I would not be surprised to see Buffalo attempt to double Garrett Wilson to take him out of the game and dare Aaron Rodgers to beat them throwing the ball to an allenlazard, to a mecolehardman, to a Ty Conklin, or to a Randall Cobb. But I think one of the biggest advantages is in the slot when the Jets go against Taron Johnson, number 7. Now, Taron Johnson is the Bills' slot corner. The Jets coaching staff put him over. I don't know why, because last year Johnson allowed 71% of his targets to be caught for 7 touchdowns, 623 yards, and 376 yards after the catch. Quarterbacks, when they targeted this guy Johnson, their quarterback rating was 107.9. So whoever's playing the slot, I think it's going to be Hardman, but we'll see how the Jets choose to do that. Whoever is their slot wide receiver could have opportunities for some big gains going against Taron Johnson. And a couple of other notes about the Bills' defense with the secondary. Christianbenford will be their number 2 cornerback. He was just named a starter on Wednesday as well, playing opposite White. He is a second-year player, a 6th-rounder from Villanova, which is well known for its ability to churn out great football players. If he was playing basketball, different story. But Benford played a little bit last year. He beat out Kaiir Elam, who was the Bills' first-round pick. He beat him out again this year. So I don't know if that says good things about Benford or bad things about Elam. Who knows? So I expect him to be on allenlazard. We'll see how that matchup goes. And of course, at safety, you've got maybe the best 1-2 punch in football with Micahhyde and Jordan Poyer. Hyde did miss some of practice this week with a back issue, but he did practice on Friday, so he looks good to go. And the Bills just re-signed Poyer to a new contract. So they are both still with the Bills. Both of them are 32 years old, though. So let's see how they play. All right, now let's do what we always do. We're going to flip the script. Let's go with the Bills offense against the Jets defense. The Jets really frustrated that potent Bills offense in 2022. The Bills couldn't score more than 20 points in either of their meetings with the Jets last season, averaging 18.5 points per game. Against every other team in football, the Bills averaged 29.5 points per game. They averaged 275 passing yards per game last year. Against the Jets, it was around 180. So the Jets are very well built to beat the Bills. Now, Stefondiggs, their wide receiver, number 14, will be a tough matchup for Sauce Gardner. But last year, the Jets managed to keep Diggs out of the end zone. And in the second matchup last year, Diggs was held to 3 catches for 37 yards. Now, after Diggs, what have you got? You got Gabedavis, who's very much a boom or bust wide receiver. If you have him in fantasy, you'll love him one week and you'll hate him the other week. I know. Okay? But last year, Davis caught just 51.6% of his targets with 7 drops. He had 835 yards and 7 touchdowns, but he did have 93 balls thrown to him. Okay? So against the Jets, Davis did very little. 64 yards, no touchdowns across 2 games, 5 passes caught total. So if your matchup here is DJ Reed against Gabe Davis, I like the Jets in that matchup for sure. So the Bills are putting a lot of hope in Daltonkincaid, their rookie tight end out of the University of Utah. Kincaid is number 86. Outstanding young talent. I expect the Bills to be running the 12 personnel very frequently with 2 tight ends with Dawsonknox and Kincaid. And I think that would be their wisest way to go. Not too different than how I feel the Jets should play, by the way. So I think that the Bills are going to run with Josh Allen a lot in this game in that 12 formation behind those tight ends, because I expect a whole lot of situations where the Jets have the Bills receivers covered very well and Allen basically is running for it. I expect a whole lot of third down attempts with Allen running. So those linebackers and those safeties on the Jets, I'm especially looking at Quincy Williams and Jordan Whitehead. They need to tackle Allen when they make contact. None of these yards after contact. Jordan Whitehead, if you're listening, I don't need to see any more of these little shoulder blocks like you were trying to do last year. Wrap the man up around his hips and legs and take him down to that new turf at MetLife Stadium. Is it so hard? I didn't think so. Okay. So besides that, you'll see at running back James Cook, Damian Harris, who came over from the New England Patriots. Cook in particular is very good at catching passes out of the backfield. Watch for the Bills to dial that play up a little bit. But if you look at the lines, it's really interesting. Quinnen Williams dominated, and I mean dominated Buffalo. Last year, he schooled Mitch Morse. I mean, oh my goodness. He ate his lunch and spit it right back in his face. So last year in the second game, Williams went out partway through that game with an injury that kept him out, I believe, for the game against Detroit, I want to say it was. So in those 2 games against Buffalo, Williams had 3 sacks, and he did that across just 46 pass rush snaps. That's a sack rate of 6.5%. So to put that 6.5% rate in context, his average is for the whole season was 3.1%, and that led all defensive tackles. So Williams, who's already the best pass rushing defensive tackle in football, was double that good going against Buffalo. That is pretty impressive. Okay, now with a healthy Williams for the first Bills game, Buffalo scored only 17 points. In the second game, the Bills scored no points in their first 4 drives while Williams was in the game. After he left, the Bills scored 20 points over their next 8 drives. That's 2.5 points per drive, right around their regular season average. But across both games, okay, the Bills scored 17 points over 12 drives when Quinnen Williams was on the field. That's 1.42 points per drive. That is between the 31st and 32nd ranked offenses last year. That is what a paramount difference Quinnen Williams makes to the New York Jets, and that much more so going against the Buffalo Bills. All right, so Quinnen needs to do exactly what he did last year. Now the Bills are going to start Ocyrustorrence at right guard, rookie out of Florida. This was expected. He looks like a great run blocker. His pass protection looks to be a little bit shaky. Let's see if Q is lining up against the right guard or the center. It's going to be interesting to watch. Now at right tackle, I want to spend a minute on this. The Jets are going to be facing off against Spencerbrown, number 79, who stinks. Last year, Brown allowed 42 pressures on 551 pass block snaps. That's an allowed pressure rate of 7.62%. That ranks 57th out of 63 qualified tackles in the NFL. No good. That's like 3-day-old bacala the morning after Christmas. No good. Okay? So then in the run game, maybe he did better in the run game? No. Nope, Spencerbrown ranked 54th out of 66 qualified tackles, had a run blocking grade of 53.7 according to Pro Football Focus. Now the Jets are going to send his direction John Franklin Myers, Bryce Huff, and Jermaine Johnson, all of whom have thrived against Brown in past games. So when the Bills have the ball, watch the right side of that offensive line, because if the Jets are going to get some pressure, it's going to come from that middle center part most likely. Okay? Now, more than that, the Jets defense has to start turning the other team over. Last year, they caused the turnover on 8.3% of opponents' drives. That's 27th in the league. They had just 16 takeaways total. The Jets are a very good defense, but to become great to me, they got to start turning the other team over. And Josh Allen, great as he is a turnover-prone quarterback. Big opportunity here. Okay, a few other notes from the game. With special teams, Gregzuerlein, the Jets kicker, looked fantastic during the preseason, made 8 out of 9 field goals, 7 out of 7 on extra points. Tylerbass, the Bills kicker, made 27 of 31 field goals last season. I expect Xavier Gipson to be the Jets' primary returner. On the current depth chart, it's either listed as Gibson or McCole-Hardman. I think with the Jets' lack of depth at wide receiver, Hardman is needed more as a receiver as opposed to a returner. So I'd like to see Gibson get the opportunity. Let's see what the undrafted rookie can do. Another thing with the Bills, this is interesting. They are returning 75% of last year's roster this season. So they have a lot of continuity going on, and I know a lot of people have been writing off the Bills, saying their window is closing. They still have a lot of that team coming back. They know each other. They know how to play together. So, but this is going to be a 1-1 close matchup. And hey, this is the first time that the Jets have been on Monday Night Football since September of 2018 when Sam Darnold debuted. Okay? So with the bright lights, can the Jets handle it? Can the coaches handle it? It's going to be interesting to see that. So as far as my prediction for the game, I feel the Jets match up very well on paper, but I got to see that they know how to win these marquee games. I got to see that Coach Saleh knows how to win these types of marquee games. I think the Jets get off to a little bit of a sluggish start. and the Bills get ahead early. I think the Jets will rally in the second half, but it falls just short. I'm going to take the Bills to win this game 23-20. And before we go, a quick couple of news and notes for the Virginia Jets fans club who's watching. You know where we're going to be. AJ Gators, be there at 8 p.m. We're doing a regular raffle, and we're doing the 50-50 raffle, so bring your cash with you. And then week 2 against Dallas, we're going to be doing the premium raffle. So we got 10 raffles scheduled this year, and we got some fantastic prizes. Can't wait for you to see them all. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I want to see your predictions, too. Put them right down there in the comments. What's your score prediction? What will you be watching for on Monday night? Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.